Top scandal, exposing celebrity secrets. What's hidden behind the fame and fortune of celebrities? At Top Scandal, we uncover shocking truths, from scandals and fraud to serious crimes. With solid evidence and objective reporting, we reveal what they don't want you to know. Josh Duggar was once a prominent figure on TLC's reality show, 19 Kids and Counting, representing the image of a conservative Christian family in America. However, his reputation completely collapsed after a series of scandals involving sexual molestation, adultery, and child pornography possession. The case of Josh Duggar not only outraged the public, but also raised questions about how the Duggar family handled their son's misconduct for many years. Born in 1988 in Arkansas, USA, Josh Duggar was the eldest son in the Duggar family, which had 19 children. Thanks to 19 Kids and Counting, Josh and his family became widely known, becoming symbols of traditional family values. Beyond his role in reality TV, Josh was also active in politics, working for the Family Research Council, FRC, where he spoke out against same-sex marriage and advocated for conservative family values. However, behind the facade of a model family, dark secrets about Josh Duggar's life gradually came to light. In 2015, a leaked police report revealed that Josh Duggar had molested at least 5 girls, including his own sisters, when he was 14 to 15 years old. According to investigative documents, Josh had inappropriately touched the victims while they were sleeping. When the incident was discovered, his parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, chose to keep the matter quiet and only sent Josh to a Christian rehabilitation center instead of reporting him to the police. When this information surfaced, the public was outraged. TLC immediately canceled 19 Kids and Counting, and Josh Duggar was forced to resign from the FRC. Despite the scandal, the Duggar family publicly defended Josh, claiming that he had repented and had been forgiven by God. Just months after the molestation scandal, Josh Duggar shocked the public again when it was discovered that he had accounts on Ashley Madison, a website designed for married individuals seeking extramarital affairs. He later admitted to cheating on his wife and also confessed to being addicted to pornography. This revelation dealt a severe blow to Josh Duggar's public image. Once a staunch advocate for family values, he was now exposed as a hypocrite. Despite the scandal, his wife, Anna Duggar, chose to stay by his side. In April 2021, Josh Duggar was arrested by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, HSI, for possessing child pornography. Investigators found that Josh had downloaded and stored multiple files containing child sexual abuse material, some of which were described by prosecutors as the most horrific they had ever seen. According to the investigation, Josh Duggar used specialized software to conceal his online activities. However, forensic experts still uncovered undeniable evidence. In December 2021, Josh Duggar was found guilty and sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in prison. In addition to his prison term, he was required to register as a sex offender and would be under strict supervision upon release. During the trial, prosecutors described Josh Duggar as not only a sex offender, but also a dangerous individual who showed no signs of remorse. Despite this, some members of the Duggar family, including his wife, continued to support and defend him. Following Josh Duggar's conviction, the Duggar family faced immense public scrutiny. TLC decided to cancel Counting On, the spin-off of 19 Kids and Counting. Some family members, such as Jill Duggar, publicly criticized their parents for covering up Josh's misconduct in the past instead of protecting the victims. Meanwhile, Josh's wife, Anna Duggar, remained silent and continued raising their children while her husband served his sentence. The Duggar family, once a symbol of traditional values, has now become an example of how religious conservatism can sometimes shield criminals instead of seeking justice. The case of Josh Duggar serves as a warning against idolizing public figures without proper scrutiny. It also highlights the dangers of covering up crimes in conservative communities, where reputation and family image are often prioritized over truth and justice. More importantly, this case reaffirms that no one is above the law. Despite being a reality TV star, Josh Duggar was held accountable for his crimes. Once a symbol of traditional family values, Josh Duggar has now become a disgraced sex offender. His story is a clear example that fame cannot hide wrongdoing forever, and that ultimately, justice will always prevail. Joe Giudice was once a familiar figure on the popular reality TV show, The Real Housewives of New Jersey, alongside his wife, Teresa Giudice. The couple was beloved by audiences for their lavish lifestyle, extravagant parties, and enviable wealth. However, behind the glitz and glamour was a shocking financial fraud scandal that led to Joe Giudice facing prison time and ultimately deportation from the United States. Joe Giudice was born in Italy in 1972 and immigrated to the United States with his family as a child. He married Teresa Giudice, a star of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, R.O.T.T.I.N.G, produced by Bravo. The couple quickly became a focal point of the show thanks to their luxurious lifestyle, expensive homes, luxury cars, and extravagant parties. However, their wealth was not solely the result of legitimate earnings, but was also tied to elaborate financial fraud schemes, which were later exposed and became one of the biggest scandals involving reality TV stars. In 2013, Joe and Teresa Giudice were charged with financial fraud, facing 39 counts including bank fraud, mortgage fraud, bankruptcy fraud, and tax evasion. The couple was accused of falsifying documents to obtain millions of dollars in loans from banks and financial institutions. Additionally, they were found to have misrepresented their assets in a 2009 bankruptcy filing, deliberately omitting valuable holdings to avoid paying debts. They were also accused of failing to pay taxes over several years. These actions not only violated the law, but also severely damaged their public image. Once admired on reality TV, they became the center of one of the most disgraceful financial fraud scandals. In 2014, Joe and Teresa Giudice pleaded guilty to the charges and were sentenced to prison. Teresa received a 15-month sentence, while Joe was sentenced to 41 months in prison, with the additional risk of deportation due to his non-U.S. citizenship. Teresa was allowed to serve her sentence first to ensure she could care for their children, while Joe began his sentence after she was released. After Teresa completed her sentence in late 2015, Joe officially started serving his prison term in 2016. While incarcerated, Joe Giudice faced another legal battle, the risk of deportation. Despite having lived in the U.S. for decades, laws stipulate that non-citizens convicted of serious crimes can be deported to their country of origin. In 2019, after completing his prison sentence, Joe Giudice was transferred to an Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) detention center while awaiting his deportation hearing. After multiple failed appeals, he accepted deportation and returned to Italy. Following his deportation, Joe Giudice began a new life in Italy and later moved to the Bahamas to be closer to his children. Meanwhile, Teresa continued starring in The Real Housewives of New Jersey and eventually divorced Joe in 2020. Though no longer a major media figure in the U.S., Joe Giudice remains active on social media, sharing updates about his new life and efforts to rebuild after his scandal. Joe Giudice's scandal serves as a costly lesson on the consequences of financial fraud. It is also a reminder that the luxury seen on reality TV does not always reflect reality. Furthermore, his case highlights the strict deportation laws in the U.S. for non-citizens, even those who have lived there since childhood. Once a well-known reality TV personality, Joe Giudice lost everything: his fame, career, family, and even his right to remain in the U.S. His story is a clear testament that no one is above the law, and fraudulent actions will eventually be exposed.